What's up, people? Welcome to week 10. These very exciting. About 6 weeks left of this course, and that's about it. So you should feel pretty good about it. You're almost done with essay 2. This week, you're going to be drafting your essay and uploading it. And I'm going to give you all an opportunity to get some feedback from each other when you upload it. And so next week we're going to talk about editing our draft and things to look for. Next week I'm going to go over things that people did in essay 1, and so that way you can not make those same mistakes. And remember that, which I'll say this again next week, that if you do better on essay 2 than you did on essay 1, I will change your essay to your essay 1 grade to match essay 2. So if you made a 70 on essay 1, but make a 90 on essay 2, then essay 1 gets changed to a 90 also. Okay, so that's pretty exciting. It's pretty exciting. Let's look at our list of assignments and due dates this week. Okay. You are going to, this is week 10. So you're going to watch the lecture, which I'm going to go over today, discussing introductions and Tolman and research and quotes and all that kind of good stuff. And then you are going to write your best draft. Okay. And then if you have time, this is what you need to do is continue to read your novel. You need to be finished reading your novel by really by the end of this month. March 31st is when you should be done. March 31st, you are on the 30th, you are submitting essay 2. And then we are going straight into talking about essay 3. Okay. So let's make sure that we are on track. This week you had last week you had the ability to do a couple extra credit assignments. Okay. The thesis proposal and the class discussion. Now, look, once I grade those, there's no more opportunity to turn those in. Okay. I'm going to close those out once I grade them. I'm going to publish this lecture on Friday. So you still have a couple of days before the official next week begins. And so if you submit, or maybe you're watching this on Monday, okay, and I haven't started grading these yet, okay, but once I grade them, if I grade them on, I can go ahead and tell you this right now, on Tuesday, I have like a 3-hour window at my school because IT doesn't matter why, but I pretty much have like 3-hour planning period, okay, and do you know what I'll be doing during those 3 hours? I'll be grading. Okay. So if you're watching this on Monday or on Friday the 14th, you need to, if you have not done the extra credit thesis proposal or the extra credit class discussion and you want to, you need to get it done by Monday night, because I will be grading these on Tuesday. And when I'm done grading them, I'm not assigning zeros because these are not required, but I am closing the links. I am closing them out. You will not be able to find the drop submit box, okay, for these things. All right. I will not be taking these after Tuesday morning. All right. Good times. Okay. So this week, instead of a PowerPoint PDF, I made a doc notes. Okay. It's called week 10 doc notes. So that's what we're going to be looking at. Here we go. All right, great. So assignments for week 10, as I've already stated, or I'm going to highlight as I go over. Watch the lecture. That's what you're doing right now. Woohoo! Good for you. You are watching the lecture. Okay. And this week, you, as I've already said, you're writing the best first draft of your essay possible. Okay. And then you are reading your independent novel. Make sure we do all that. This is a grade. This is a completion grade. Again, I am not grading, actually, or leaving comments, people's first draft of their essay. I'm requiring you to write one because you can't edit one if you don't have one. And when I go over editing and I go over looking at what you did for essay 1 and how to make sure you don't make the same mistakes on essay 2, okay, then you need to have an essay 2 already written in order to be able to edit it, okay? And it needs to be the best possible. Not sometimes people think of rough draft as like a crap draft, okay? And which is why I don't even like to use the term rough draft. I use first draft. First draft is the idea that like if you only have one draft to submit, this is it, okay? So it should be the best draft possible. So you need to have one of those to at the end of this week. And so I'm just giving you completion grade for having one done, okay? But just because you make it 100 on your first draft does not mean that like your essay is perfect, okay? So if you get a 100 in your first draft and you're like, dang, I don't gotta do anything else, and you submit that exactly same draft as your final essay for essay 2, your final draft, and then you make a 50 on it, don't be like, well, you gave me 100 on the first draft, so I thought it was totally fine. Okay, it takes me 2 weeks to grade all the essays. So if I actually were to grade your first draft, I would need 2 weeks to do that, and we don't have time for that. But I am going to try to do a opportunity for you to peer review it if you want to. Okay. All right. Your introduction. I'm gonna look. You really do need to start moving into like kind of creating your, kind of developing your own introductions and your own ideas how to start essays, right? I'm not going to give you like specific talking points for every single essay about exactly what to say in each introduction. All right. And so here are some tips of what you can do in your introduction. All right. Introduce your film, the title, actors, maybe year came out, maybe interesting facts or historical context that the film, historical context of the film or when the film was released. All right. On the film, I should fix that. On the film or when it was released. So like, for example, if you did Midsummer, great film. Midsummer came out of the Me Too movement. So like having historical context of the late 20 teens and understanding the Me Too movement and what was happening there and about, getting, women getting retribution for the crappy things that like men do in the shadows or in the gray area on a daily basis to a lot of women and the rage it creates. This the film Midsummer is symbolic of all those things. I don't know if we would have Midsummer without having the Me Too movement. Okay, so you need to, so that would be like good context for that film. Okay, if you know that there's historical context for a film, then you should talk about it. But not every film has historical context. The Departed. I love The Departed. I love it. But I don't think there's any I don't think it had to have been made when it was made. Okay. That film could have been made in the 90s and it would have been the same exact film. Well, I mean, the texting on the phones would be, problematic, but still, the film is not like defined by its use of texting. Okay. So some films are not regulated to a time and place, but others are, though. Others are influenced by time and place. Okay, so if it is, it is. If it isn't, it is not. If the film is important to you, maybe a personal connection to it, such as when or where you saw it, maybe if something important was happening in your life or anything else that might make it special to you, if it is special to you. Some of you might have chosen a special film, a film that like you saw when you were, I know like a lot of you are already young, but maybe like, you picked a movie that was like, you just really remember where you were in your life when you saw it and why it was important to you, those kind of things. Okay. The themes or messages the film makes that you're going to address, you should introduce the lenses at some point. Don't summarize the film necessarily, or if you are, don't do it more than in a sentence. Keep it brief. All right. Thesis statement. And then towards the end, you should have a thesis statement. Okay. And the thesis statement can be, it's like precisely vague. You don't want to be too precise because you're talking about so much in your essay, you can't include everything in your thesis statement. Okay, that will be too much. All right. But you should imply where you're going with this thesis statement. Okay. And it should be towards the end of your introduction. Okay. So here, I have an example for you. A student emailed me with their thesis statement, and it was like this, and they asked for my feedback on it. Okay. This is what they wrote. Overcoming diversity with gender and the color of your skin is not only a challenge, but one many have faced throughout history. The film, The 6888, not only symbolizes resilience, but also perseverance. I plan to explore how feminism is addressed in the film based on what women of color faced at the time in The 6888, A Triumph of Black Women in Uniform. How critical race theory highlights the institutional challenges and discrimination the battalion faced due to their race in The 6888. How the plot aligns with personal struggles and characterization in the film in The 6888, confronting racism and sexism in World War III, and how a film critic argues that the film does not fully honor the real life women and their legacy, instead dramatizing events too much. In The 6888 review, Tyler Perry's war movie is another bomb. Okay. So listen, I'm not going to tear this apart because this is a draft. Okay, people. All right. But I am going to point out some things. All right. So this is what they sent me. This is a lot. This is a lot for a thesis statement. Okay. This is like halfway to an introduction. Right. This is what I reworked for this person. All right. This is a reworked and edited student drafted thesis example. Okay. Because the first one was just too much detail in that it made it clunky. Okay. And then also like this is the title, but then we have the title here. And then we have the title here. Or this is research. This might actually be research. And then we have the title again. And then this might be more research, or is it different? Like it's, and then we have it here again. And whether this is research or titles of the film, but with written slightly different titles, it's all too much. It's too much. 6888. What? It's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times. Okay. So we just kind of reduced it. So let's just try this. Throughout history, many women of color have faced the challenges that arise at the intersection of gender and race, which is addressed in the film, The 6888, A Triumph of Black Women in Uniform. Through the lens of critical race theory and feminism, the film reveals the institutional challenges and discrimination that a battalion of Black women faced with resilience and perseverance while serving their country in World War II. Oh, but now I realize this, though. It's probably the actual film title is just The 6888, not A Triumph of Black. Okay, so I'm actually gonna get rid of that part. Okay. In a paragraph, actually in the whole paper, once you've stated the title of the film, you don't have to restate the title every time. You can say the film, in the film, in the film, in the film. All right, especially if it has like a longer film. Okay, if it's like if the movie's called like Gladiator, Gladiator, Gladiator tries to tackle this, and you can mention, or at least you can mention the title if you want, like once a paragraph. All right, but don't do it too much. Just refer to it as the film. If you're only talking about one film in the whole paper, okay. All right. So, this is a condensed version of this. All right. I do mention critical race theory and feminism. I wouldn't even really need to, you don't really even need to, okay? Because we already know that like gender and race, a gender analysis is a feminist analysis. A racial analysis is CRT, okay? So I could even delete this through the lens of, you could just write the film. The film reveals the institutional challenges and discrimination that a battalion of Black women face with the resilience and perseverance while serving their country in World War II. Okay. I mean, that's actually even better. I would actually even cut that down. You don't even necessarily need to state sexism or racism. you can just talk about. You don't have to talk about. You don't have to say feminism or critical race theory or even Marxists. Okay, if you're doing one of Marx, you can use other terms like the problems with capitalism when you analyze it through a criticism of capitalism. That's all Marxism is a criticism of capitalism. Feminism, a feminist analysis is just looking at gender, especially gender inequality. A critical race theory analysis is looking at race. What does the film say about race and discrimination? Okay. So you don't even have to state the specific lenses as long as your language clearly demonstrates, clearly demonstrates what type of analysis you're giving. Does the film critique materialism and present themes of anti-materialism? That's just Marxism. So you could say Marxism, or you can say that it critiques materialism. Okay, it's the same idea. Sometimes not being so obvious, but implying it through terms like gender, race, wealth, challenges ideas of wealth, privilege. These demonstrate the same thing. You don't have to do a talk about queer theory. You can talk about how the film highlights the social inequalities that homosexuals face in a society that sees them as pedophiles. Okay, like that is applying a queer theory analysis to the film that that demonizes gay people. Okay, so again, you can use terminology, you can use different identities within your thesis statements without having to, saying some of these official terms. Okay, which you can, but sometimes sometimes they make them clunky. Okay, all right, but give it a shot, give it a whirl. Okay, all right, we gotta start. I gotta start stepping back some and not giving you too precise instruction, even though I'm about to give you precise instruction on your body paragraphs. Okay, all right. You are turning your outlines into body paragraphs this week also, okay? So here's an example of a body paragraph that I got from one of the papers, all right? And this body paragraph needs work. If this is your body paragraph, I'm sorry. This is nothing personal. I don't even know who this is, all right? In The Ones Who Walked Away from Mealis, existentialism influences the people in the utopia by choosing to not let one suffer for their own happiness. In Existentialism, written by Thomas Flynn, he talks about how existentialism is known as an individualistic philosophy. But from the outset, we should note that for the existentialist, being an individual in our mass society is an achievement rather than a starting point. Again, each existentialist will treat this subject in his own or her own way. But their underlying theme is that the pull in modern society is away from individualism and towards conformity. End of paragraph. Okay. So this is an article, so this should be in quotation marks. That's a problem right there. And as I discussed before, punctuation goes inside quotation marks. It doesn't need a parenthetical citation because we know it's written by Thomas Flynn. All right, great. But if you're at home, what's wrong with this? You can't tell me because you're at home. But I know that you know that the problem with this is that this paragraph is all quote. That's all quote. Okay, this is all quote. We have one sentence that's not a quote, and the rest is leading it. This just introduces the quote, so it's just pretty much it's no new idea, so it is a quote. All right. So we have a claim, we have this, and then we have this. That's a problem. So let's review our notes on body paragraphs. This is a screenshot from the slides that I went over body paragraphs in, I think, week 2. All right, week 2. So First part of a paragraph is the claim, the main idea of the paragraph. There's only one claim in the paragraph. That is true for here. That is very true. Okay, so that's good. Next, we have the support. Contextual support, quotes, reference. Yes, we have that. We have that. But here's the problem, though. 30% of the paragraph, only 30%. So let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. There are 7 lines. Okay, 7 lines. Let's see how many lines are the is the quote. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'll say 5.2. Okay, 5. So 5.25 lines of the total 7 equals 75%. What? 75% of this paragraph is a direct quote. Woo! Nope, not good. That is not good. Okay. So if this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, this is 7 lines. 7 lines, people. Okay, if this is in fact 7 lines, let's see here. Let's do 7 times 0.3 for 30%. And that is 2 lines. There should only be 2 lines. A quote should only be 2 lines if your total paragraph is 7. Boo. Okay. So 30%. So this quote is way too much. It's so much. It's so much that we don't even get the analysis. The third part of a paragraph is analysis. This is your explanation of your claim. This is where your paragraph wins or loses. Tell your reader how they need to understand the information. Okay. So what comes after this quote should be analysis, explanation, explaining how this quote proves this point. Okay. So if the claim and the support is supposed to add up to, now that doesn't mean that we can't use this quote, even though of course I think we should shorten it. But if this should be 50% of your paragraph, then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. If you want to use this quote, then just write 7 lines of analysis. And that will be 50% of your paragraph is analysis, is explanation, where you explain actually how The Ones Who Walk Away from a Meal is an existentialist story. Okay. And then you would have a good paragraph. All right. You cannot end a paragraph with a quote because you always need to analyze it and explain it. All right. This is way too long. A lot of people use really long quotes. So they don't have to write up as much. And that's not the right way of using them. Okay. So here is an example of a good paragraph, a well-written paragraph. Okay. Sea Boils, The Love of My Life, presents the idea that critical choices come with escapable consequences through the use of the symbolism of rain throughout the short story. All right, so this right here, what color did we use for okay. This is our claim. This is definitely the claim. All right, so that's our claim. And then we have leading into the quote. Enjoying their camping trip, the young couple, China and Jeremy, continue having sex, even with limited access to protection. Not good, not wise. Despite initial forecasts calling for no rain throughout their break, clear skies didn't last long, for the rain, quote, came midway through the 3rd day. Clouds, the color of iron filings, the lake hammered to iron too, and the storm that crashed the trees and beat at their tent with 1,000 angry fists. Okay. All right. So there's a support. All right. Okay. So after this quote, now we have this intense storm parallels the pair's critical choice to continue participating in sexual intercourse despite lacking adequate amounts of protection. This crucial decision presents consequences 9 months later as China gives birth in a motel bathroom, accompanied by the harsh downpour outside. Rain is once again present while the two are interrogated by police. The intensity of rain throughout critical moments in the story mirrors the gravity of China and Jeremy's choices. Just as rain cannot be controlled, the couple can't dodge the inescapable repercussions for their actions. Okay. I hope that was written by a real human, who actually wrote this response. Okay. It was really good. So that's analysis. That is analysis. Is it perfectly 50%? I mean, look, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. But it's kind of like 7.5. Okay. But overall, this is technically, yeah, there you go. But overall, yes. Overall, it's fine. It's close enough for, freshman year college writing. It's close enough. Okay. We have claim, we have support, we have analysis. All right. These are, I can't highlight these because these are, yeah, screenshots. So claim, support, let's see. Support. Yeah, I can't do yellow. I wish I could. And then analysis is the, let's see if I can do this. Nope. Nope. All right. And then this is the analysis. All right. So this is a good paragraph. You want your paragraphs to look like this: claim, quote, analysis, explanation. All right. Do it. All right, additional questions. A student asked me a series of questions that were, I thought were useful for everybody to hear. So here they are. How do I cite a source and quote from a Netflix film in MLA format? Netflix, Paramount, doesn't matter. This doesn't matter. So don't worry, that. But a film, though. The way you're going to do films in your essay, in parentheses, you're going to put the name of the film in italics, and that's it. You are technically supposed to be putting in the exact hour, minute, and second that the quote was mentioned. If this is a real film class, you would be doing that. But honestly, though, like, this is not a real film class. This is an English class, and I just think that's too much. Okay, I mean, I'm sorry. It's one thing to write down a page number. That's real easy versus is to go exactly back and like look at the exact time and whatever. So I'm going to release you from having to write the exact hour, minute, second of the quote. You just can just put, but you do have to put the film's name in parentheses. Okay. Okay. Do I only need 2 secondary sources for each lens? Is the critic review article also a secondary source? So I know there's a little confusion because this is my outline that I posted for y'all, and I put source citation, source citation, source citation, source citation. If you've been counting us 4, and then source, what did they say? 5. Okay, but in the PowerPoint over SA2, I technically wrote that you only needed 4 outside sources plus your film. Okay, so what I was meaning by that is this: you don't necessarily need a source. You don't need a source for body paragraph 1, 2, and 3 and 4. Okay, you definitely need to have a film critic. I mean, that one's obvious because you're reading a film critic and you're reading what they said and then you're agreeing with it or disagreeing with it. Okay, so that's one of your sources. That's an absolute source. The film reflection, absolute source. But then between body paragraph 1, 2, 3, and 4, you can just have 3 sources. 3 of those. Okay, 3 of the 4. So one of those 4 doesn't need to have a direct source mentioned in it. Okay. So your essay only needs 4 outside sources, secondary sources, plus 1 film. Okay, so on the works cited page, there's going to be 5 things listed: your 4 outside sources and the film. One of those 4 will be the film critic. Okay, so this film reflection has to have a source, okay? And then one of these 4 body paragraphs can be missing a source, okay? Hope that make some senses, okay? And I wrote it here. The outline has no, yes, has a place for 5 sources, but you are only required to have 5 sources, so you don't technically need. Oops. 4. So you don't technically need a source for every lens paragraph. I do want you to have a critic review source, but then you can just have 3 other ones throughout your lenses conversations. Okay. While reviewing the purpose of a literary essay in the document you provided, I noticed that 3 to 4 secondary sources must be from Galileo. If I have found other sources outside of Galileo, am I allowed to use them? Okay, so here's my response about your sources. You can use other sources, but they need to come from reliable sources that have authors' names listed. Just review the notes from week 4 where I go over appropriate outside sources. Okay, so in one of the PowerPoints, PowerPoint 4 from week 4, let's see, week 4, okay. I posted these notes here, week 4, okay? And I go over research, and appropriate sources, okay? But then for the sake of this sheet, though, I did copy paste this. This is a different PowerPoint that I've used before, but it's all the same information, okay? So you can use other sources, but they need to come from reliable sources that have authors' names listed. Just review the notes from week 4 where I go over. Okay, so sources besides Galileo to use. Every source has to have an actual author. So the first requirement is the sources has to have an author. You cannot be quoting an article that does not have a source. Okay. All right. So news sources with the Associated Press: New York Times, Vulture, The Atlantic, Slate, The Guardian, Economist, Forbes, Washington, Psychology Today, and New York Magazine. These all have actual authors, so you can use those. Okay. Now, Medium is both on this list and the do not use list. Okay. Medium. If it is by a professional writer, Medium is a great website for writers, but it also has a bunch of technically non-professional writers. A professional writer is a writer who makes their living off writing. Like they get paid to write and they publish. Okay. Then there are people like who are not like, I'm not a paid writer, but I can have a Medium page. Okay. Now, if I'm writing about like literature and English, but I am a English teacher and instructor, okay, and I might have published about writing, and so I could be a reliable source to be listened to, okay. But if I'm a teacher and writer of English, but I'm posting articles about IT and things outside of my field, I am not considered a reliable source, okay. Professional writers, and I should be writing this also, that they write about what they're publishing, okay. But there are people who write for the New York Times, The Guardian, The Economist, who also publish on Medium, okay. So if it is by a professional writer, if you can't find any of their other articles published online, then they are not valid. All right. Do not use lists. Wikipedia and Wikipedia-like websites, dictionary and dictionary-like websites, online encyclopedias and online encyclopedia-like websites, university websites that don't list actual authors' names, sources without actual names of authors, Medium, self-published writers with no previously published work. Nope. Okay. So try to stick to this. 4. My secondary sources. The document states, second element from film through your lens. Does this mean I need to choose one of the following elements: plot, conflict, a character, theme, or a symbol? Okay. So I try to I've gotten this kind of question a lot about like, what does this second one mean? What do you mean by this? So I'm trying to clear this up, and I hope this paragraph clears it up for you. For each film, you need 2 aspects of the film that you are analyzing through the particular lens you are using. The aspect isn't relegated to just plot or conflict or character or theme or symbol, but other things as well, such as maybe setting or time period or costume or weather okay? Or anything else that you think is deliberate in the film. Like in Seven, it's always raining. It's always rain. The weather is awful. Okay. There is a term for that. I think it's called the monotony. The I can't pronounce the word monotony of weather, where the weather is a symbol. Okay. So if you are applying a Marxist interpretation to the film, let's just say you were using the film American Psycho. Then for one paragraph, you could talk about the setting as being a materialistic society, upper class, rich young people working on Wall Street, only caring about how nice their clothes are. Caring, dork, stupid, idiot. Okay, caring about how nice their clothes are. While the second paragraph, using a Marxist interpretation, can analyze the main character, Petra Bateman, in particular, and how he is a psychotic murderer that doesn't value human life, which symbolizes the criticism of capitalistic greed and ambition. So if you're doing a Marxist interpretation, aspect one of American Psycho could be about the setting specifically of the society in which it takes place. Not in New York City, but like it's a very specific society in New York City. It's the upper, well, I think it's the Upper West Side of New York City. It's Wall Street. It is a very rich upper class society where only rich people can live in that area. Okay. And the second paragraph can be about the character, the specific character, the main character, Patrick Bateman himself, and what he represents. Okay. So there's two different aspects of the film that you are analyzing under the lens. Okay. Each lens, there's two lenses. Each lens, you have to analyze two things under that lens. Okay. And so you can pick whatever it is. It could be a character, it can be an object. Like when we were talking about Moana, Maui's hook. Maui's hook, that object is a symbol. Okay. It's a phallic symbol, represents men and the abuse in the way that men use their gender, their sex against women. And there's a right way of using it and a wrong way of using it. And when he uses it to abuse Taka and Tafiti, eventually gets broken and destroyed. But men can't be men with it, I mean, that's a big, deep, long conversation, but without their male identity. And so then Tafiti restores his hook with a new hook. Okay, that's supposed to represent, a better way of using your gender. So it can be an object, it can be a setting, it can be a time period, it can be a specific character. Okay, so anything, all those kind of things are up for debate. Hope that helps. All right, so that's everything. There's a Dropbox for SA2. Let me know if you have any questions. I will be, let's see here. Stop share. Okay, good. I will be looking at some drafts next week. I'm going to be doing some comparison, showing like things to fix in your draft. I'm going to be pulling up some people's drafts along with their submitted essay. I'm going to do my best to delete all names. If you want me to use your essay, or you don't care if I present your name, people know who you are, because it is really annoying when like I have to delete names. Okay. But I will delete names. Okay. I'm probably going to be using someone's essay from essay one that was low scored with a lot of errors, because that's useful, looking at an essay with low scores and errors and then using that to understand how to edit essay two. That's really good. Okay. So if you want me to use yours, just so that way you get kind of a free little direct tutoring, through the course of the lecture, let me know. Last time I had like 8 people request I use theirs, but I only actually ended up using one because of the time it took, so just because you request doesn't mean that I will. Sorry. Okay. But I do want to at least be helpful to one person. Okay. So let me know if you want me to use your stuff. All right. I will be recording the next lecture probably around the Thursday prior to the next week, you know, so it also depends if you get yours done early enough for me to even be able to use yours before I record the lecture, since I record these days before the weeks begin. All right, hope this was helpful. Take it easy. Send me an email. Hopefully I will reply to you like pretty early. All right, bye.